I'm here today with
Yes.
Marina Phantom Elite to talk about Blue Blood, out March 17 on Frontiers Music. How are you doing today?
Just had to show it.
I love the
Uh,
plug. No, go ahead.
yeah,
Show the album cover.
shameless.
It's a really cool album cover.
I'll show it. I'll show it later.
Okay,
More
perfect,
of it.
perfect. So are you? I'm sure you're excited. I'm sure you're looking forward to the release date, and you can't
Yes,
wait for fans to listen to this record. How do you
absolutely.
deal with that anticipation when that day is coming closer and closer and closer?
I think the trick is just to keep busy, which is what we're doing. It's just there's a lot to do, there's a lot to prepare and to create and to plan. And we're also going on tour next week, so it's like double planning and preparing for a lot at the same time. So we're super excited, but at the same time, since we have a lot to, we have a lot of work to do, um then we're just objective about what we're doing, and then suddenly it's like, oh my god, it's tomorrow already, yeah.
When it comes to Phantom Elite, not just this album, but even previous records, what is the starting point for you guys? Where do you guys start? Weaving the magic that then becomes the final product, the record.
That's a very good question. We just start writing. That's it, and then whatever feels right, we go in that direction. And Blue Blood actually was written, oh, I would say in more than a year, because COVID, and we didn't want to, we wanted to take our time, and everything was so uncertain after the release of Titanium. We didn't know if we were going on tour, and then we were, and then we weren't, and then it was a lot of back and forth. So we started writing a long time ago, and that also means that while we're writing, we start maturing. So, for example, a couple of songs that we wrote first are not in the album because we were like, they feel old, they feel like they could belong to Titanium. So that's like, what's the point? So I guess what gets us going is really just getting together and putting our, you know, rolling up our sleeves and working. That's basically it. And then we see what feels right. It's very much what in that direction that we go.
This is the band's third record.
Right.
After three albums, and when you look back at the sound, at the experience, at the everything that goes into making a record, even the artwork on an album. When you look back at the previous two and you look back at this one, are you guys still looking for what is going to be or what you want it to be the sound of Phantom Elite, or every record gives you an opportunity to redefine yourselves all over again?
Right. I think it's not like we want to, completely go schizophrenic, or like we don't want to like change genres every album, but with this one it just felt right to go a step further from the more symphonic genre we were part of so far till Titanium. And yeah, but it's like I said, we're so feeling based when it comes to that. It's more like, yeah, none of us was feeling pushing towards the symphonic direction, because let me tell you a secret, we don't listen to symphonic metal. So that's like, that's really hard. We were like,
Well,
why would we do that?
I
It's
was
like,
not expecting that. I was expecting a million of other things. I was not expecting that.
no.
No, like I mean, you'd think that considering the last two records, uh, you guys were like huge fans. You listen to it all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least that was my expectation. I guess I was totally wrong.
No, I would say, okay, so the first album was still with another lineup. It was me and another lineup, and Sander was still very much part of the songwriting in Wasteland. So it was completely different. It was the first album I ever co-wrote ever. So that's that's, I do actually have a history with symphonic metal. I did start listening to not only very symphonic, it's not like I've always been the hardcore Nightwish fan. I've always tended towards the modern version of it, like Evanescence, for
Okay.
example, or Symphony X, the more progressive stuff, or Dream Theater, that's really progressive. So I kind of come from that. And I would say the other boys that were part of the band back then also had their own, their own background in music. And Sunder, well, comes from After Forever, and so we did have more of the symphonic background. And since then, I think I've been listening to different stuff. And if you look at Titanium, it's also not very symphonic. There's
No, no,
some
it's
orchestrations and some operatic moments, but it's mostly already going towards a heavier and poppier approach, which is, I guess, what we managed to do with this one. And it's funny that you mentioned that on your review. I actually got the chance to watch it yesterday evening, and you said something like it being uh, accessible heavy in a way that we packaged everything in a way that is actually easy listening and you can remember stuff. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. We didn't want to make a pop album because for us it would just be too flat. Like, all the respect for people who do, who make music like that. I love pop music. I love, let's say, simple music as well. There's
easy
a lot
listening.
of art. Yeah, sure, sure. But, we all come a little bit from the progressive side of things. So there's just no way that we wouldn't have our complications in there?
This album, I think it's more what people now call it modern metal, which is
It
metal
is.
that has those pop influences like you're talking about, that has the keyboards that play an important
Right.
role in
Right.
overall soundscape, but not necessarily in a symphonic way, if that
Right.
makes sense. Because there's a
Yeah.
difference
Like
between,
Bring Me the Horizon, for example.
yeah, like
Right.
there's a difference between those two sounds in those two worlds.
Absolutely.
They're not
Absolutely. Yeah.
necessarily the same. Like Evergrey is a band that also has a lot of those same modern
Right.
metal
Right.
elements in the last couple of records. So there's a lot of bands using those elements now. Is that not a genre, but is that title, that umbrella of modern metal, one that gives you perhaps more flexibility from a creative standpoint than being a symphonic metal band, which kind of pigeonholes you to a specific style, to a specific sound?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're all about experimenting and putting whatever we feel like into the songs. And many of the songs were really like we were laughing while we were writing them, because we were like, people are not gonna understand what's going on here. Apex was one of them, for example, that we just loved it so much, the way it came together, and we were just like, is this going on the album or not? It was a bit of a conflict there, but after a while we were like, what, of course. And now it's one of our singles with, I would say, our biggest music video that's coming out tomorrow. And yeah, so I would say that that flexibility is very important to us. And also the modern in sounds, and like the more electronic approach, and not, operatic vocals, and let's say more um more how can I say that? It's not that I want to say that symphonic metal have like predictable melodies to it. That's not what I mean. But I would say that under this umbrella of modern metal, we can also experiment with hip hop, for example, or some, yeah, just rhythmical stuff that is completely different. So yeah, we're definitely happy to not have the symphonic label, because it's, again, it's not that I don't respect the symphonic metal. It's really, it takes a lot of art to do it well, and also in a modern way. I mean, I'm with Exit Eden, and that's also a whole other topic. And that symphonic metal, that's just like, you know hardcore symphonic, and it's great and it's well done. So yeah, but for us as a band, it's just important to be able to experiment, otherwise we wouldn't do it at all.
In
Yeah.
this record, there's a lot of diversity in the album. When you look from song to song, it's actually hard to find two songs that are similar. The album,
Yeah.
I mean, there's similar elements in them, but it's almost like the ingredients are the same, but the recipes are quite different. So it's an album that
Right.
gives you ebbs and almost constant ebbs and flows as you're going through it. When you have albums like that, sometimes it's hard to find the red line that connects them all so that the album feels a little bit more together. What do you see as the red line of Blue
Yeah.
Blood?
I think that's also something that you mentioned in the in the review. I would have to agree that I think some of the sounds we choose is the red line, and my vocals, obviously, because it's, you know, it's not like I'm changing completely what I'm doing from one song to the other. And but I would say the guitar sound stays, you know, kind of that thick, genty sound. And right, so the drum approach is also similar throughout the songs. So it's more like, yeah, the sound is a red line, even though people are playing very different things and there are different elements there. You know what I mean?
I
I
know
don't know
I
if
know
that
what you
makes
mean.
sense.
I know what you mean. It might
Yeah,
come across differently in the context of the songs, but the approach is similar from track to track in terms of the impact that they give to the tracks. I think that's
right, right. And I mean,
at least that's what I took as well.
it's not like the synths are suddenly going to be completely, you know, doing violin strings completely on another track. That's what I mean. It's like the sound is a, it could be in the same family.
And another,
Yeah.
since you mentioned my review, another thing that I said in my review about your vocals is that I felt like this whole album was almost written just thinking of your vocals and what you can give to the
Wow.
song. So it's like the album musically is written for you specifically, very specifically for you, not necessarily you coming in and then having to adapt yourself to how the songs are put together. Is that how the whole process went? Do you feel like the album really allows you to give the best of yourself within it?
Oh, I think this one accomplished that more than the other past two albums that we have. The first album was actually really hard for me. I remember there was just like, there was almost, I felt like there was almost no room to do a lot of exploring, and that was something that I wanted to change in the songwriting, you know, in the following albums. But yeah, because we wrote this album specifically so together, we and the instruments together as well, and also the vocal, you know, the vocal lines and lyrics, we were all like sitting in a studio and coming up with stuff. That's how we kind of assembled these songs. And so yeah, we actually had that in mind. And as soon as something was just too much in terms of writing, I was like, you know what, there's nothing I can do here that's gonna work with what you guys are doing. Then we tried completely different approaches, for example, the hip hop verse in
Yeah.
This Sick World. And then we were suddenly like, oh, there is an alternative. You know, that that verse had so many versions before that. As soon as we started to think out of the box, we were like, oh, okay. So it was a little bit like, let's do what Marina can do. Let, for example, that bridge in Apex. That's a moment that I was like, okay, this is open, clean vocals, dramatic. I'm gonna do my thing, which is the usual thing that I do, and it worked. But also, on the other hand, sometimes when things were a little bit hard for my, let's say, comfort zone, or at least what I'm used to doing, we try to think of solutions outside the box, and it seems like it was made for it. Because we just thought of the solution that would work for the song. And then if it would something, if it would be something absurd that I actually can't do, like for example, falling in reverse level of rapping with this new song that they released, it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that well, so I'm not gonna do it.
You're not even going to try it.
Yeah, no, no. You know, if it's something within the realm of what I can push myself to learn, for example, the grunts that I've been doing here and there, that's fine. I'm also not going to grunt throughout a whole song because I can't do it well. So I'm not going to do it. So it was a combination of, yeah, of like what is, you know, what are the vocals going to be able to show here? What is Marina gonna, you know, bring to the table that is really worth showcasing? And also like can we make her do something else? But then it ended up working. That's it. That was a mix
So
of those.
you've talked about your range. What in trying new things like the hip hop, the rapping.
Yes.
What part of your range do you feel like you tend to do more work on, or that you work more on in order to improve it and to bring everything up to the same level?
What I had to work on the most for this album,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely the grunts and screams. I am a complete noob at that. I started learning that, I would say, 2 years ago. And it's not that I've done something here and there and then I don't know, it hurt my throat. It's like if there's a person who could never make one sound that was aggressive, that was me. Like I can't with distortion. I can't any of that. I always like ignored it because I was like, I can't do it. But the secret is also that I love it. I love extreme vocals. And I was like, I want to learn this. I just want to face my demons and I'm gonna learn it. So I actually took a few lessons and I just practiced for 2 years for so long. And yeah, that's what I had to, really run after, because I was like, okay, I really want to do some grunts and more aggressive vocals on this album, but I need to be able to do them.
do it.
Yeah. And also live, it's not something that I just want to have on the backing track or something like that. To me, it's very important that I'm able to do things live, or at least I'm able to adapt them as close as, I can get to the album. Because let's face it, this album is hard for everybody. So you have to be just realistic about, especially as a singer, how you use your voice on tour and having, endless dates coming together. But anyway, that's besides the point. I was saying that the grunts were really something that I really had to work. I'm still working on it, of course. I think it's going to take me years to get to where I actually want to be with it. Yeah.
And you just said about the difficulties of live and how this album is was a difficult record, not just for you, for everybody. Is there
Mhm.
a song that immediately pops into your mind in terms of how much you had to work on it vocally in order to get that song to the place where you could put it in the album and feel comfortable about it?
I can't, no, I can't think of any song that was like, oh, this I'm gonna have to really work on because it's still not sounding the way I want. I don't know. We worked so hard on the demos already that when I went to record the vocals, I kind of already knew what I wanted, how I wanted to sound, some things. And then it was pretty much working. But if I have to think of a song, well, I can say a song that really beats me to sing, that beats my ass when I'm singing live. I would say for now, it's still Inner Beast. Because it's just there's no room to breathe between things. It's just like the breathing there is a little bit hard, and it's the first chorus is very low, the other choruses are very high, then there are the screams in the middle, and there's something that I really, this song I have to concentrate. I'm like, okay, let me do my best. It's not a moment where I'm gonna be like jumping around on stage and having fun. It's more like, okay, I gotta do this now.
You gotta buckle up.
Yes, exactly.
So with the album on the cusp of being released, you guys have a tour in the plans that's coming afterwards.
Yes.
How long are you guys going to be on the road for that tour? And any plans for the summer? Any plans for perhaps coming to North America and playing some shows here?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to go to North America and play some shows there, but unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing concrete right now. And yeah, we have a show, we have this tour in Europe starting on the 25th of March until the 9th of April. So we got many dates. We don't have many days off, so it's gonna be, yeah, like every tour really. If you ask smaller bands, they are all gonna say, yeah, we just tour, basically without days off. But yeah, so we're doing that, and for the summer, we still don't have any festivals confirmed nor anything, but well, we're definitely working on that. It's just that after COVID, things have been just a little bit harder, especially for the lower hierarchy of bands that are not like, I'm not talking really, really beginning bands because it's always hard for very beginning bands, but like we are on our third album and we have, we've seen some growth from the first album, but it's still not like we are on a level and working with a team of bookers and managers. We're not. And that's just very, very hard right now. It's even a bit harder to snatch those
Mhm.
tour slots or getting something that makes sense financially. It's really tough,
So,
but we're trying our best.
I mean, that's all you guys can do, and that's all we can ask
Yeah,
for. And
right.
and when you're not busy on these tours that have no breaks in them, when you're
Hmm.
not busy in the studio recording, when you're not busy practicing your growls and your screams, which is something that I'm sure we're going to get even more of the next record. I really like the spices.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think
really
so
like the
too.
spices that you guys added on this one. What do you
Yeah.
do for fun when you're not busy doing all of that stuff?
Oh my God, I am the worst person in having fun, to be very
You don't know how to have fun.
especially right now. I actually do have a lot of fun working. I am a workaholic. It's guilty as charged. Of course, that is not good for me. Of course not. It's not good for anyone. But when I manage to have fun working, then I have a lot of fun. But let's say what I absolutely love doing is, again, sounds incredibly boring, but it's watching movies and series. That's I would consider it a hobby. Yes, because I watch with a lot of intention. It's not like I'm just mindlessly flipping through the channels or no, I actually have lists of films that I want to watch and keep track of them, the kind of stuff. So, yeah, but I'm not too big into, you know, partying. I don't drink alcohol, so it's all like I'm a very extremely boring person when it comes to that. My
You
ways of having fun is just like, your everyday things, having dinner with my boyfriend, who is Yuri, the drummer. And yeah, that's my fun. There you go.
you just reminded me of a line from Tribalistas from Brazil,
Right.
where they say that eu não sou audiência para a televisão. And you just reminded me of that line because that's exactly what you are. You just enjoy
Right.
sitting watching TV shows and watching TV and movies. There's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy that myself. So so
I
you're
love
not
it.
the only one. And
I love
speaking
it.
of Brazil, I want to finish our conversation with a question that that the moment that we set up this conversation, I thought about this question immediately, which is as a singer, as a Brazilian, if you could do a collaboration with any Brazilian singer, who would you pick? There's so many great ones.
Yeah. No, I just get a little sad uh, with that question because I would have loved to do a collab with André Matos from Angra, Shaman, well, all his wonderful things that he has done with his longest career. And unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. But yeah, oh my God, if I have to think of someone in Brazil, ah, it's so hard. It's so hard. Well, I would say that it would be something that would make me happy to collab with my I'm not sure if he's still active in the scene, but he was my first singing teacher in Brazil. That would be very sweet. His name is Mario Pastori. He used to be quite active, and but I'm not sure if he's still doing anything. Anyway, he's a great vocalist, a great metal vocalist, and you know, for sentimental reasons, it would be great to to have a collab with him.
Maybe send him an email or something. You can have him on the next record.
Right. Something that I actually think would be pretty cool, and we already tried to do something like that, but it didn't work. Was Mizuho, Mizuho Lin from Semblant.
Hmm.
'Cause
I
we
know who it is.
actually, yeah, so we know each other, and we try to put together a cover a few years ago during the pandemic, and we just never got to it. It's just so hard. We never got to finalize the track, and then we were like, You know what? Yeah, we'll do something someday. It's
You
gonna
were too
work
busy
out."
watching Netflix.
That's not true. That is not true. That doesn't mean that because it's my hobby that I watch too much of it. It's
Fair enough. Fair enough. That is a fair assessment. That I apologize. That is definitely a fair assessment.
thank
Marina,
you.
thank you very much for taking the time. You are a pleasure to talk to, and
Oh,
an
thank
even
you.
greater pleasure to listen to. So, thank you very much for taking your time today. Congratulations on the album. I truly
Thank you
enjoyed
so
listening
much.
to it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. Best of luck on this packed tour with no breaks in between.
We'll
So
be fine. We'll be
have a
fine.
blast, have fun,
Thank you.
and once again, congratulations and all the best with your release.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to say that tomorrow we're releasing our new music video for Apex. And if you want, no pressure, but I think it would be cool if you do a react on that one as well at some point.
Is there any hot boxing in that one?
No, no, no hot boxing in the car. No, no. That was just the one-time thing.
Okay, that was just a one-time thing. Okay.
No bomber jackets either.
And now you're getting me sad. Now you're taking two things away that I really enjoyed in that video.
Also, no smeared mascara. There's nothing there that you liked, but maybe there's something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna throw something at me that is gonna surprise me and probably is gonna get
Oh,
me
for
talking
sure.
and
Yeah.
and us going on a
Yep.
completely weird tangent about like whatever, because that's what we do anyways.
Lovely, and that's fun to watch. So I highly recommend it, not because it's my band and I'm just plugging it shamelessly. It's just because it's a video that deserves uh reaction videos.
Deserves to be checked out. Okay.
Quite different, yeah.
Okay, I'll take that in highly consideration since you're asking.
Yes.
And
Yes.
since we had so much fun checking out the last one, I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Right.
Exactly.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
No,
All the
thank
best.
you. Thank you. We'll be in touch.